My Liu Ruyan disappeared before the wedding, leaving me alone and becoming a joke. When I saw her again a few months later, she stroked her pregnant belly and said, "Don't worry, the father of this child will only be you. It was you who wanted to get sterilized. My parents need a boy to inherit the family property." I threw the wedding ring into the sewer and turned away. Liu Ruyan was sure that I would not want to leave and that he would come back sooner or later. Until the eldest princess of the Golden Circle was photographed going in and out of the obstetrics and gynecology department with an amateur, the eldest princess generously announced, "Yes, we have a child." Liu Ruyan went crazy and made a scene in the confinement center. Holding the ring she picked up from the sewer, she knelt down and begged me to marry her. When I rushed to the hotel box, Liu Ruyan was nestled in the arms of the unfaithful man, like a little bird. She covered her belly with one hand, and the other hand was tightly held by her mother. There was a bit of shyness and pride on her face. At this time Liu Ruyan saw me, her pupils shrank, but she quickly returned to normal. The unfaithful man and Liu's mother also saw me immediately. The unfaithful man hugged Liu Ruyan tighter as if to show off. "Yichang is here, come in and sit down." Liu's mother broke the silence first, as if nothing had happened. I curled my lips and walked straight into the box. My eyes fell on Liu Ruyan's slightly bulging belly. It was so lively. Is this an advance rehearsal? A family of 5 enjoying the joy of family life. My fiancée Liu Ruyan, the woman I pursued for my entire youth, disappeared for a few months, and then she was pregnant with the mistress's child. She invited me to dinner with the mistress, and even her parents were there. It was really exciting. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan frowned, as if I had said something contrary to Tiangang's words, as if I was the one who made the mistake. Liu's mother looked normal. "Kuchang, since you know everything, then auntie won't hide it from you." He picked up the teacup and took a sip. "For a family like ours, the most important thing is offspring. I know you and Ruyan, we have been engaged for a long time," he paused, "but since you can't give birth to a son, your aunt can't let you in." Liu Ruyan sat aside, saying nothing, and tacitly agreed with his mother's statement. After a while, he was willing to speak and assured others that the father of this child would only be you. "After all, we have been together for so many years, and she knows that I have loved her for so many years. Liu Ruyan and I are recognized as the school beauties and school hunks, but she is the little daughter of a wealthy family, and I am just a poor boy. In order to be worthy of her, I worked day and night, and finally laid a fairly solid foundation before I dared to propose to her and give her a future. She didn't like wearing condoms and asked if it was comfortable. I didn't dare to let her take medicine for fear of hurting her body. So after we graduated, I thought about it for a week and finally decided to get a vasectomy. When he knew it, he was heartbroken and didn't allow me to go. I coaxed him and said that it could be revasectomized later, so it was okay. When we get married, when he wants to have a child, he can have it any time. On the day of the operation, he swore to heaven that he would never let me down in this life. But when everything was fine for us and we were about to get married, he disappeared. I turned the whole gold circle upside down but couldn't find him. When I was almost going crazy, he showed up with another man's child and told me that I would be the father of that child. The expressions of the mother and son seemed to be giving me some great gift. At this time, the heartless man had a flash of reluctance and jealousy on his originally gentle face, but he quickly regained his gentle look and flirted with Liu Ruyan. I did not accept the gift of the mother and son of the Liu family, and said coldly, "No need." After that, I took off the engagement ring. The ring was thrown on the ground, making a short metal clinking sound, which was particularly clear in the huge box. Liu Ruyan looked at me with an incredible look. "Yichang, are you crazy? This is the ring my mother left for you." Mrs. Liu's expression finally turned bad. She put down the teacup in her hand and said in an unhappy tone, "Yichang, is this how the He family taught you?" I met his questioning gaze. "Auntie, how did the He family teach me? It's not your concern in the future. It's your Liu family's family education." "Yichang, how did you talk to my mother?" Before I finished speaking, Liu Ruyan stood up and pointed at me in a frustrated look. "You don't want this ring, but there are many people who do. Don't regret it. Even if you come back to beg me, I will not forgive you." Liu Ruyan picked up the ring on the ground in anger, and put it on the finger of the unfaithful man without thinking. The unfaithful man was flattered. He held Liu Ruyan's hand with tears in his eyes. I looked at this farce in front of me, and my heart was indeed calmer than I thought. The love we once had seemed to have been accumulated in disappointment. After my exhaustion was exhausted, I didn't cry or make a fuss. I turned around and left the box. After leaving the hotel, I drove straight to a place I hadn't seen for a long time, a racing track. When I was young, my dream was to become a racing driver, but I was always reminded that this was a waste of time. Later, my family suffered a change and I lost everything in one day. It was Liu Ruyan who called the police and rescued me. I fell hopelessly in love with him. He was the only child of his parents. The Liu family required me to marry into the family, which was indeed a humiliation for a man, but I loved him, so I agreed without thinking. At that time I only felt that true love could overcome all difficulties. Liu Fu also started to train me, and based on my previous foundation I grew up quickly. I still remember what Liu Ruyan said, racing is too dangerous, you have it now, I have a family to support, I don't let you practice, it's for your own good. My heart was sweet as honey at that time, and I regarded his words as an imperial decree in my heart and eyes, and I never touched him again. Racing, I have no other hobbies except loving it, but why should I care about these now? I walked to the front desk and ordered a racing car with the best performance. The receptionist was a bald middle-aged man. He looked me up and down and asked, "Young man, can you drive?" I didn't say much, just threw a black card into his hand and came to the garage. A red-painted S4 sports car came into view. I stroked the steering wheel and felt a long-lost excitement. It's been a long time since I saw my old friend. Then I stepped on the accelerator and the racing car quickly rushed out of the garage. I had no time to pay attention to the exclamations beside the racing car. All my attention was focused on the track. Suddenly, another racing car passed by from the side and almost brushed past me. It was a silver F4 as fast as me. I was startled and even more excited. I quickly adjusted the direction and started racing with the other party. The silver racing car bit the rear of my car tightly, and the air seemed to be affected by our speed. The last lap we almost rushed to the finish line side by side. The air was filled with the smell of fuel. It has been a long time since I felt such a hearty excitement. I took off my helmet and looked at the silver racing car next to me. The person in the driver's seat also took off his helmet. It was him. Dove saw me and raised her eyebrows. "Why aren't you following Liu Ruyan as a licking dog today? So exciting." I now say these 3 words to Liu Yan PTSD, don't mention him in front of me. Dove was stunned for a while before saying, "You finally know what I mean." I looked at him, subconsciously covering his mouth in confusion, and couldn't help laughing at myself. It turned out that the matter of the green grassland on my head was known to everyone in the circle except myself. I loosened my clenched fists, exhaled a breath of turbid air and looked at him. He came in a lap. Dove shook her head. "Your current mood is not suitable for such a dangerous sport." As he said, he came over, put his hand on my arm and stood on tiptoe. His lips gently rubbed my earlobe, and his voice was very low. "I know a hotel with a good environment. We drive another car." At this time when this was said, even if I was a wooden man I should understand it. But Dove smiled lightly, and the tip of her tongue gently swept across my earlobe, causing me to tremble. "Are you afraid that Liu Ruyan will know? Dove is famous for keeping strangers away. The young man who wants to tease her will suffer all kinds of consequences. There are even rumors in the circle that he is gay." I heard the tone of his words and didn't know what he meant, but I didn't expect that he was a determined man of action. Noticing my looseness, he stuffed me into the car directly and fastened my seat belt. He turned around and got in the car, stepped on the accelerator and rushed to the hotel. On the way to the hotel, Dove's car seemed to be driving faster than on the track just now. When we arrived at the hotel, Dove seemed unable to wait a moment. She pushed me against the wall and started to strip off my clothes. Playing such a big game, I whispered with a hoarse voice. He chuckled, and moved closer with a bit of aggression. His warm breath sprinkled on my ears, and I took it as your consent. Then the breath of his body enveloped me and kissed my lips. The next second I deepened the kiss and we fell on the soft bed. My consciousness gradually blurred, but I could still feel his rapid breathing and the pounding heartbeat. He Chong called my name in a low and hoarse voice, with a hint of restrained trembling. I tried to guide him to relax and lead him to climb the ultimate peak again and again, only to find that we were so compatible. For a whole night we were like a small boat floating on the sea, with sometimes trickling streams and sometimes turbulent waves around us. We hugged each other tightly, like a desperate redemption. When I woke up in the morning looking at Dove sleeping in my arms, I was confused for a moment. Then the phone, it rang. It was Liu Ruyan calling. "Don't forget to pack up for today's auction and come quickly." Liu Ruyan's tone was normal, as if yesterday's farce had never happened. Haha, now he knew that the mistress was not presentable, and wanted me to accompany him to the auction. I said coldly, "Liu Ruyan, are you okay? Have you forgotten that I called off the engagement yesterday, and there is no relationship between you and me anymore?" But Liu Ruyan's focus did not seem to be on the engagement. "What's wrong with your voice? Did you drink last night?" He asked for a long time before he reacted, and his tone suddenly rose. "Which vixen are you fooling around with?" I just found it funny and ignored Liu Ruyan and hung up the phone directly. But the vixen next to me was woken up. When she heard me talking to Liu Ruyan on the phone, her face was not very good. She seemed to really think that I was angry with Liu Ruyan, so I talked to her. "Liu Ruyan is a famous green tea. Is she worthy of your... You are worried about me. You are thinking too much." At this time, Dove stared at my face seriously, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. "You have been with Liu Ruyan for so many years. Is it because of the marriage between the He family and the Liu family? In fact, Dove was only half right. For so many years what supported me was the joy of my youth. But this feeling has long been exhausted. Seeing my silence, Dove spoke again. Speaking of marriage, what do you think of the De family? The De family? Dove's words were somewhat knowingly asked. Just from her title of the Golden Circle Princess, you can know the power of the De family in the capital. Before I could think of how to answer, Defu pulled me up. Where are we going? Defu smiled lightly. Auction outside the door. The unfaithful man was holding Liu Ruyan's arm and never leaving. Perhaps it was the first time he attended such an occasion. He seemed particularly nervous and restrained. I heard the voice of Liu Ruyan's follower Choi, Ruyan's brother-in-law. He really broke off the engagement with you. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's face instantly darkened. The heartless man beside him rolled his eyes imperceptibly when he heard the word brother-in-law, and was obviously dissatisfied. Choi immediately noticed the subtle atmosphere and hurried to find Bu. How is this possible? Everyone knows that your brother-in-law has been devoted to you for so many years. A top student from Peking University is willing to be your dog. That's just a message of playing hard to get to attract your attention. Besides, with the current situation of the Su family, they can't get around without the support of the Liu family. Even if your brother-in-law has that idea, the He family will never agree. Liu Ruyan's face eased a little. At this time Liu Ruyan saw me, her lips moved, and when she was about to say something, her eyes fell on my hand holding Dove's, and she was instantly furious. He Chong, you are dancing to me with a vixen. Her voice was very loud, attracting the attention of people around her. I saw the heartless man. A trace of gloating flashed across Shinhan's eyes, but he quickly concealed it and put on a worried expression. What a wonderful performance. I sneered. It was really Liu Ruyan's eyes. Liu Ruyan, we have broken off the engagement. Who I am with doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. Liu Ruyan was obviously stunned for a moment, as if she was surprised at my firm attitude, and even more surprised that I said the cancellation of the engagement in public without leaving any room for her. At this time he turned his gaze to the vixen I was holding. When he saw Dove, who looked not so good, he instantly wilted. The De family was a real wealthy circle that he had licked on his knees to get into, but he still insisted, Dove, you are a villain who takes advantage of others' misfortune. I will go back and tell my mother, and let my mother go to your house to complain. She is a cowardly mama's boy, which makes me feel that I was blind before. The unfaithful man on the side didn't seem to know Dove, and he was stupid enough to rely on others for power. Do you know who you offended today? Has Liu heard of it? You will be in trouble in the future. Dove didn't bother to pay attention to the unfaithful man. He just looked directly at Liu Ruyan. His eyes turned cold in an instant. Taking advantage of someone's misfortune. Anyone in this world can say these words to me, except you, Liu Ruyan. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan seemed to be stabbed by something and swallowed her saliva guiltily. I was confused by these words. If I remember correctly, Dove and Liu Ruyan had a good relationship before, but then they broke up for some reason. I took the opportunity to ask Dove, what do you mean by this? At this moment the auction began and we had to enter first. Enemies often meet on a narrow road. Dove and I, Liu Ruyan and the unfaithful man were arranged to sit next to each other in the first row. I could feel their unfriendly eyes at the distance of one seat. I didn't look at them at all, as if they didn't exist. This auction was of a large scale, with all kinds of rare items. Treasures and antiques appeared one after another, and the prices soared all the way. I was not interested in these, but just listened to the auctioneer's introduction carelessly until the end of the auction. Yongzheng's jade ring was displayed by the auctioneer. The warm jade was a thing of the emperor. No one present could take their eyes away. The price was 5 million, the auctioneer announced loudly. I noticed that the eyes of the heartless man lit up instantly, and he tightly grasped Liu Ruyan's arm. Ruyan, I like this ring so much. If I wear this ring to marry you, I dare not imagine how beautiful our wedding will be. It seems that the fat in Liu Ruyan's belly gave him a bargaining chip and expanded his appetite. Liu Ruyan was praised by me, and she was obviously very fond of him. She immediately raised the sign for 5.5 million. I sneered in my heart. It seems that Liu Ruyan is really willing to spend a lot of money on his mistress. I have the impression that he has never given me anything worth more than 10,000 over the years. Could it be that I have worked 4 or 5 jobs and lost a lot of money? Just as I was immersed in my thoughts, Dove suddenly raised the sign for 6 million. I was a little surprised. I had never heard that the famous princess of the Golden Circle liked antiques. I turned to look at Dove, but saw that her expression was indifferent, as if she was just raising her hand casually. Liu Ruyan's face looked at Chan Shernan, who glared at Dove and raised the sign for 7 million again. Dove followed without hesitation for 8 million. The price rose all the way and soon broke through the 10 million mark. I noticed that Liu Ruyan's forehead had begun to sweat, and she was obviously overwhelmed. 15 million. Dove's voice was still calm. Liu Ruyan finally gave up. He was unwilling to give up. The heart was lowered, his face was livid, as if he had lost face. The face of the heartless man also turned the color of liver. But at this moment Dove made a finishing move. He waved the ring box in his hand at the two of them, and said thank you with a look of asking for a beating. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's face turned red and white, as colorful as a palette. The heartless man bit his lips in anger. Then Dove put the ring box in her trouser pocket. Her expression was a little arrogant and a little happy. I was a little puzzled. What was he thinking? After the auction was over, we didn't stay for long and left directly. As soon as we walked out of the auction door, we were stopped by Liu Ruyan. What happened? I asked in a bad mood. Hee-chong, you wouldn't be so impatient with me before. Liu Ruyan was actually feeling aggrieved. If you have something to say, just say it. I'm not in the mood to drink with him. Hee-chong, you threw away our engagement ring last time. Actually, I took the picture of that ring for you today. I didn't expect it to be intercepted by someone with bad intentions. Liu Ruyan looked sincere, and if you didn't know, you would really think he was a romantic when the unfaithful man heard this. His face instantly became uglier, like he had swallowed a fly. He wanted to attack but didn't dare, so he could only clench his fists tightly. Liu Ruyan wasn't here. I guess he would just ask me to fight. Liu Ruyan, you have repeatedly arranged it and I didn't put me in. Dove suddenly spoke with a hint of warning in her eyes. Liu Ruyan immediately wilted like a frostbitten eggplant and said nothing more. Dove ignored her and took me away. She held my hand tightly, as if swearing sovereignty, and then drove all the way to the airport. I couldn't help asking her where we were going to help every dream. Dove actually took me to the UK, where there are more advanced racing training grounds and facilities. Dove trained with me as usual that day. Just as I was about to rush through a bend, suddenly, an out-of-control racing car rushed out from the side at high speed and swung towards me. My heart jumped suddenly, but it was too late to react. Dove's voice was so strong that I couldn't help but scream. The sound exploded not far away. He stepped on the accelerator at an incredible speed. The car body quickly moved sideways and blocked me and the out-of-control racing car. In an instant, a violent collision sounded, sparks flew, and my car deviated from the track due to the huge impact force and hit the guardrail. In the chaos, my car finally stabilized. My rapid breathing made me realize that I was still alive. I quickly unbuckled my seatbelt and staggered towards Dove's car. The front of his car was seriously deformed. Dove leaned on the seat, her face was blank, and blood was oozing from her forehead. Seeing him like this, my tears welled up in my eyes unconsciously. Dove, how are you? I shouted with a trembling voice, trying to after opening the car door. Dove raised her head with difficulty, and when she saw that I was fine, a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She slowly stretched out her hand and handed me a ring box, saying, "Don't lose the ring." My heart tightened instantly. At this critical moment of life and death, Dove was still tightly protecting the ring box. I opened the box, and when I saw the jade ring, I couldn't help but cry. Dove raised her hand with difficulty, slowly wiped away the tears from the corner of my eyes, and then put the ring on my finger. This time I didn't hesitate. Dove's left hand was fractured in the hospital, but her life was not in danger. I just had some skin scrapes, but Dove still insisted and asked me to do a full body examination. I am waiting. When I checked the results, I received a call from Liu Ruyan. She spoke in a fatherly tone. "I know you hooked up with Dove just to be angry with me. I didn't take it to heart. Where have you been during this period? Why can't you be seen in the whole capital?" I was speechless. "My name is not Wei Di'er. Where I go is none of your business. Liu Ruyan, we have nothing to do with each other anymore. Please don't harass me for no reason." Liu Ruyan seemed to think that I was jealous of him. There was a smile in her voice. "You are just throwing a tantrum because you saw me taking Zhengyan to meet my parents. I really don't understand you men. How many times have you met my parents? Can you still be so jealous for such a small thing? You are so angry about something. Since you want to see my parents so much, how about this? When you come back, our family will welcome you in person. What do you think?" I was so angry that I laughed. "Liu Ruyan, if you are sick, go get treatment. Really, even a gold miner can't dig out a stupid person like you." Liu Ruyan seemed to have just realized that I really wouldn't tolerate him anymore. "It's not that the house is broken. Yichang gave you a way out, but you still took advantage of it. Hey, okay, I'm sick and I'm crazy. I tell you, I'll give you this one chance. If you can't catch it, you will never be able to enter the Liu family's door in your life. No matter how you beg me in the future, it will be useless. You mustn't regret it. Haha. Whoever wants to enter the Liu family's door can enter." After saying that, I hung up the phone directly. When the medical examination report came out, my fingers trembled so much that I almost dropped it on the ground. It clearly said that Dove was pregnant at 4 weeks. I looked up in shock and felt my brain go blank, as if countless fireworks were exploding and buzzing in my mind. I hadn't done the speed pass yet, so how could this be a success? I subconsciously looked at Dove. She was even more excited than me, with surprise and disbelief in her deep eyes. She didn't care about her broken arm, and ran into my arms, spinning around excitedly like a child. I was infected by her. and the corners of my mouth unconsciously raised an arc, and I picked her up. In the following days we turned down all the options. We could turn down any work and stay together 24 hours a day. Due to the great influence of the De family, even though we were far away in the UK, we were still photographed by paparazzi. The hot search directly exploded. Not long after the news came out, Liu Ruyan was like crazy, calling me again and again, and her tone was no longer as arrogant as before. "Hee-chong, where are you? I miss you. Can I pick you up?" She was so angry that I felt my ear, which was pressed against Dove's belly, was kicked by the baby's movement. I didn't have the patience to continue talking nonsense with her, so I hung up the phone and blocked her. I didn't expect that she would change her number and continue to call me frantically like she had an inguinal hernia. I had to turn off my phone. The world was finally quiet. Not long after Liu Ruyan, she made a big fuss about the fact that she gave birth to a son. I saw the message her friend left on WeChat Moments. "Sister Ruyan, you've changed your partner. Although you've been playing tricks behind the scenes, the only one you've admitted to is Hee-chong. Sister Ruyan is your sister, so I advise you to just play around with this kind of sissy man in private and don't bring it to the public. It's not decent. Sister, you're competing with your brother-in-law for points. If it doesn't work, you should give in and try to win him back. Men are all hard on the outside but soft on the inside. Once you give in and hook him up in bed, he will definitely come back." Liu Ruyan simply stopped pretending and only replied to the last message. "What the hell am I trying to win him back? I lack a boyfriend." At the same time, Liu's parents were not idle either. Whenever they met, people said that thanks to the blessing of their ancestors, the Liu family finally had an heir. Seeing them like this, I felt that I was blind before. But now, I don't care about the trivial matters of these irrelevant people. I just watched it for fun. A few months later, my daughter Tangbao in Dove's was born. Looking at Tangbao, who was carved out of the same mold as herself, Dove's eyes were moist. She held her carefully and couldn't let go. Then, after obtaining my consent, she posted on her circle of friends that yes, we have a child, and the picture was a photo of me and her, with the jade ring on my hand clearly visible. It turned out that she didn't respond to the previous rumors. She was waiting for me, Dove's friend. The circle immediately became lively. Truth or dare, wow, Princesta, after so many years the iron tree blooms and the big one is officially announced right away. I knew that the father of the child was Hee-chong. When I saw the photos taken by the paparazzi, I thought, congratulations, the secret love of so many years has come true. This is all, the procedures are saved, and they fast forward directly to the birth of the baby. Dove only replied, "Thank you for everyone's blessings." The bar was very lively. Liu Ruyan said nothing and drank one glass after another. Sister Ruyan, Dove and brother-in-law officially announced it. The follower Chioi spoke cautiously, observing Liu Ruyan's face. Liu Ruyan suddenly raised her head, her eyes were sinister, and her face was extremely ugly. "It's okay, sister, you don't like him anyway." Chioi found that Liu Ruyan's face was not right, and she started to find trouble again. "If you don't want to die, shut up." Liu Ruyan kicked over the table in front of her, and glass fragments and wine splashed everywhere. Chioi was frightened and trembled. He dared not speak again, but just silently cleaned up the mess on the ground. "Sister Ruyan, I know you deliberately let the unfaithful man go and gave birth to the news of your son to stimulate me," you said in a low voice, "but has your brother-in-law contacted you for so long? He and the child surnamed Gu have given birth to it." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan dropped the wine glass to the ground with a bang and hugged her head in pain. At this time, Shi Zhenxiang, who had always been at odds with Liu Ruyan, deliberately brought up the matter. She said loudly, "I heard that you were playing around outside and had an illegitimate child." After saying this, Liu Ruyan's fiancé ran away with someone in anger. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan stood up suddenly, burning with anger, and rushed toward Shi Zhenxiang desperately, swinging her fist to hit him. Shi Zhenxiang dodged sideways and easily avoided Liu Ruyan's attack, and then punched him in the face. Liu Ruyan was knocked to the ground. "But you started it first," Shi Zhenxiang said with a smile, and then fists rained down on Liu Ruyan's face. Liu Ruyan, who was good-looking but useless, had no power to fight back, and could only let the other party fight at her face. People in the bar were watching, but no one dared to step forward to intervene. Liu Ruyan's former arrogance was gone, and now she was like a stray dog. After leaving the bar, Liu Ruyan could no longer hold back. She stumbled to the confinement center. Alcohol paralyzed her nerves and finally made her see her own heart clearly. He rushed into the gate of the confinement center, but was stopped by the security guard. He yelled at the security guard, "I am Hee-chong's fiancé, let me in." The security guard looked at him with the look of, "Are you sick?" He couldn't bear Liu Ruyan, he went crazy. His eyes were red, and he pushed away the people in front of him regardless of the obstruction and rushed into my room. Hee-chong saw me and his voice trembled. "I was beaten, why don't you care about me? Apply painkillers to me like before and kiss me, okay?" His eyes were full of pleading. I looked at him coldly, with no ripples in my eyes. Is it because I had a child with someone else? You are going to have a baby with someone else just to be angry. Seeing that I didn't react, he suddenly roared hysterically. I really made him laugh. He said to Liu Ruyan word by word, I'm telling you for the last time, we have no relationship anymore. If you harass me again, I will call the police. At this time, Dove walked in from outside the door. Liu Ruyan was completely defeated. She pointed at Dove and cursed Dove. You vixen who destroys other people's feelings. Hearing this, Dove raised her eyebrows slightly, and a sarcastic arc appeared at the corner of her mouth. Then he asked someone to kick Liu Ruyan out of the house. After the confinement period, Dove took me home. As soon as we entered the bedroom, he couldn't wait to push me against the door. The hot breath sprayed on my ears. His low voice was a little hoarse, deliberately flirting. He Chong, I miss you so much. I felt the changes in his body, and my cheeks suddenly became hot. I pushed him to stop making trouble. Tang Bao is still sleeping, but he hugged me even harder. His voice was very low. Be gentler. The curtains were not drawn. The moonlight poured in through the glass window, illuminating the shadow of our union. The next morning when I woke up, Dove was not in the room. I got up and suddenly saw myself on the table, feeling very familiar. I finally remembered the love letter handed to me by the police the year I committed suicide. The handwriting was beautiful, the writing was delicate, the love was hard to hide, it was full of small details of secret love, the love letter to keep me from being sick. It turned out to be written by Dove too. But if I remember correctly, that love letter was sent to me by Liu Ruyan, thinking that Liu Ruyan and Dove had a good relationship at that time, and later turned against each other. I finally realized that it turned out that Liu Ruyan had impersonated the love letter written by Dove to me. The joy of youth was ultimately in vain. At this moment, a rapid knock on the door broke my thoughts. I walked over and looked out through the peephole. It was Liu Ruyan. She was like a dogskin plaster lingering around. I hesitated but still opened the door. Chong, I figured it out. At worst, our brother can take the child with him. Then a good word. Liu Ruyan's tone was anxious with a hint of pleading. I was amused by her words. Liu Ruyan, are you kidding me? It's been so long, and you haven't healed your brain yet? Chong, I was wrong before. I'm sorry, I really know I was wrong now, just give me another chance. Liu Ruyan was still begging, go away, it's over between us. I coldly handed over the order to leave. At this time, Liu Ruyan saw the kiss mark on my neck, and was immediately furious. You Liu Ruyan, she wanted to say something, but when she saw my ruthless look, she finally shut up. I thought Liu Ruyan would take her legs, but I didn't expect that the next morning, when I opened the curtains, I saw Liu Ruyan still standing at the door of the villa. She had a red and swollen face, standing there like a sculpture, motionless. He actually waited at the door all night, but my heart was calm. I drew the curtains, not wanting to see anything dirty. After a while, I received a call from Chiu Yi asking, how have you been recently? His tone was a little hesitant and embarrassed. If you have something to say, just say it. And I'm telling you for the last time, don't call me brother-in-law anymore. I said coldly, I don't want to have any unnecessary connection with Liu Ruyan's lackey. It's like this, Sister Yen said he was a heartless man who deliberately destroyed your relationship and had already driven him away. Chiu Yi's voice was deliberately raised. He laughed for a few minutes, as if afraid that I couldn't hear him. I chuckled and spoke as if he, Liu Ruyan, was the heartless man, the mistress. At this time he still sent someone to pretend to be affectionate with me. Is there anything else? No, I hung up. I said mercilessly. Obviously, he had no interest in Liu Ruyan's affairs. Sister Ruyan, she was still detained. Chiu Yi's voice suddenly became smaller and smaller. This was interesting. He wanted to dump the heartless man and said that the child was not his. The heartless man refused to leave and had to divide the Liu family's property. Chiu Yi paused as if organizing his words. Then Sister Ruyan took him to do a paternity test. The child was really not his. The heartless man fought with Sister Ruyan in anger. He asked Sister Ruyan to learn taekwondo. The heartless man was almost beaten to death. So I called the police and Sister Ruyan was taken away. There was a group of criminals. I was worried about Liu Ruyan's safety. I took her to practice taekwondo for a year. The criminals didn't hit her, but used it on her mistress. It was really fate. Whose child was that? I suddenly ignited my gossip heart. I don't know, but it must be Sister Ruyan's. I almost laughed out loud when I heard it. Playing like this, I don't even know who the child is. I was stupid enough to think that they were sincere. After hanging up the phone, I couldn't help but feel happy. I really let it go. But this happy mood did not last for a few days, because a few days later Liu Ruyan appeared at my door with a haggard face. Chong, I know I was wrong, please don't ignore me. Her eyes were red, her face was as white as paper. I looked at her impatiently, the once proud little peacock, now like a stray dog in a miserable state. But what does it have to do with me? I just ignored him and closed the door. Dove and I held the wedding of the century. Pure white roses covered the entire estate. All our relatives and friends came to witness our happiest day. She wore a white wedding dress and slowly walked towards me at the end of the red carpet. The sun shone through the shade of the trees. casting a layer of golden halo on her body, as if a god had descended to earth. At that moment I only had her in my eyes and she only had me in her eyes. Dove, will you marry me? Whether I am rich or poor, sick or healthy, are you willing to love me forever and remember me until death separates us? My voice was low, but with a barely perceptible tremor. I am willing. He did not hesitate. We exchanged rings and recited our vows. There was thunderous applause and fireworks all over the sky. My married life is simple, free and happy, but I know that I can't hide in the light of others forever. I still have my own dreams. I continued my racing career, and Dove gave me unconditional support both financially and spiritually. I began to train hard day after day, and Dove always supported me silently. She came to watch every game of mine in person, celebrated for me when I succeeded, and told me not to be discouraged when I failed. At the same time, every time I competed, there would always be another unwelcome figure, and I didn't want to pay attention to him at all. Finally, I became the world's #1 Asian F4 racing champion. When I stood on the podium with the trophy in my hand, Dove's smiling face emerged in my mind. I know this is just the beginning. My goal is the stars and the sea. My story has just begun. The full text is over. Remember to like and follow.